This has been rather quite awesome. Okay, so I'm Seun Oshinaike and this is Lucy Willingham. So Lucy is one of our young co-founders at Cypher app. So initially when we're discussing via email what we should try and present, so I initially might notice in the brochure that I said 7 failures. I think later on, after actually putting the presentation together, thinking actually, wow, okay, I'm not sure if it's actually necessary failures, but it's a nice way to start. So it's more of a, challenges that we've faced and the lessons that we've learned from those experiences. Okay, so this is just, I always like to start with this because it's just takes you right into the sort of experiences that we have, we get to the pleasure of enjoying on Cypher app regularly. So this is from a young person in Havering. I've tried to kill myself for the past 3 years, and now I know my life is worth living and I should enjoy it before it's too late. It's so beautiful when young people share stuff on Cypher where you can see actually from their low point to all the different journey that they go through in their life cycle and also the good times as well. And in terms of what Cypher is essentially is an anonymous peer-to-peer social network app for young people to share their thoughts and feelings and also connect to support organizations in times of need. I'm going to just very quickly, just to give you a quick background in terms of how we started. Typically, up until last week, when I talk about how Cypher app started, we initially called Silent Secret, by the way, and then we rebranded earlier this year as part of our accelerator on the NHS program that we're on. So I was watching, back in 2013, I was watching a tech talk video of a guy called Frank Warren, who created postsecret.com. So he goes on the street and gives out postcards, so people write their secrets on the postcard and send it to him. So over a period of a few years, he realized actually that what I got from it was that how honest and authentic people can be when identity is not attached to what they're sharing. They can truly be themselves. So at the time I said to myself, wouldn't it be great if we can get young people together and then see if we can create something quite interesting, a digital version for young people to feel safe online where they're not being bullied. That's a story that I usually share, and it's true. But I was at an event last week, a Wavelength event, with other business leaders. And what I realized during one of these small workshops is actually, because I've always questioned, what is my purpose in terms of in connection with Cypher app? Why? And I realized in one of the sessions that actually the reason why I feel passionate about young people's mental health, it turns out, and I was denying it all these years, is actually my own mental health as well. So this is probably the first time I'm actually saying that out loud in front of an audience. So, thank you. So we started off from, luckily we still have 15 young people in the team now, but there's been a variety of young people who have come in and out of the team, but we still have the original 7 young people that started from day one in the team as well. So we have the 15 young co-founders of the team, and one of the challenges of that is actually, making sure that we take on board every single, thought process that those young people are sharing, and with us, like we're not tokenistic in terms of how we engage young people. They're very much involved in every single process in terms of our moderation or going to events or doing things. They're very involved in every single process, and everyone in the organization, happily, I hope, is equal on the same wavelength. So that's one of our challenges, actually getting everyone engaged in Cypher in itself. So I remember when we were starting off, and I should say some of the things that I'm going to say about when we were starting off, fast forward now in 3 years or so now in terms of what we've achieved, I don't think anyone in our team would ever want to change anything at all in terms of not creating Cypher to start with. So there were lots of negative impression that we were getting from some organization in terms of like, you guys are crazy, like why are you trying to do something like this? This is going to be like a place where young people are going to get bullied and all of this stuff. But luckily we were brave enough to push ahead anyway. And before we even launched the app, we had over 1,000 young people that had signed up to say, I want to be the first person to use this app. So we reached out to Childline, And we had a lot of support from them in terms of helping us to get our safeguarding policy and procedures together, which was really, really helpful for us from the very start. And one of the things that we've really had to learn how to do really well is actually listening to the data that we have, or all our insights. So we've had over 63,000 young people use the app since we created it. And one of the very pure example of like us listening to data is last year we sent 2 of our young people to Portugal as part of a European Investment Bank competition, which they actually won. Both of them are actually only 19 years old. They won 50,000 euros back to bring back to the UK for us. And part of how we won that reward is actually that we realized what our trend on our data shows that young people typically when you're providing, counselors are providing sessions, they work between 9 to 5, but what our trend was showing is actually the other way around, which is 9 to 5 is actually when, 5 to 9, yes, 9 to 5 is when young people needed support. 5 to 9 is when they needed support. Oh my. And there's been some features on the app as well that we've actually used, and we actually realized these aren't working, so we can actually get rid of this and implement something else. And user retention is also been one of our biggest pain points and a lot of learning, and we're actually constantly having to improve things on the app. Anyone that tells you they have a social network app that they're not struggling with this, I can 100% almost guarantee that they're lying, just to know that for sure. Chasing contract versus open source of insight. So, and with this, we've made some errors, and I hope we're not going to repeat it in 2018. So, because there's always that pressure of us to try and monetize the platform somehow to make sure we can sustain ourselves. And sometimes these can get in the way of some of the features we're trying to build, trying to make sure we can get contracts to come in rather than actually doing something meaningful and useful. In terms of our roadmap for 2018, so again, this is the first time we're going to be sharing it in public, and I was so excited Friday when we were doing a demo with our data scientists, and this came out, I was like, this is super awesome. So based on all the learning for the partner pattern of moderation over the past 3 years or so, we've actually built a very sophisticated AI that using semantic analysis and observation learning that actually we'll be able to now save ourselves between anything from 30 to 50 grand a year on moderation, because the AI is so clever that it can actually do majority of all the moderation, which is far superior and efficient than human being. But you still need a trained human being to assist as part, but then it just means the human being do less and less. So we're actually going to be turning this into an API that we'll be able to give out to people to actually use, just plug into their system with an API key, very easy to use. And our app counseling, we're about to fully roll that out. We're currently partnered with Mind in Enfield. There's been lots of learning through that process as well, and we've made it so much easier for young people across the UK to easily connect to a counselor as well. And I did write on my hand, in case I'm rushing with time now, to ask for help. We always need help. And I'm going to get Lucy to quickly talk about Armour. Go on, Lucy.
Well, as a young person myself, I understand that people are really isolated and don't know how to connect with their emotions or express them properly. Alma allows you to express your emotions effectively and also advise you in what you should do with your problems, but is not a doctor, so it can't refer you or diagnose you with any problems, but can merely suggest that you try and get your problems seen to professionally. It's a private space where you can express all your problems and emotions, and Alma does not judge and is confidential, and no one else can see them.
In case you're wondering, Alma is our chatbot that is coming out next year. And I'm going to finish off in terms of what our bigger picture of what we're getting into. So it's around early intervention for young people sharing and powered by our moderation API and digital app counseling at the same time with our chatbot to give young people healthier mental health. Thank you.